From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Braden Neville.
On today's episode, Ticats coach Scott Milanovich speaks about Bo Levi Mitchell, the upcoming season, and more at this year's annual winter meetings. We discuss Bo Levi Mitchell's new contract structure, and we also go over what else we missed over the holiday break. It's Monday, January 8th, 2024, and you're listening to Ticats Today. Welcome to the very first episode of 2024. Happy New Year to you all. Hopefully you all had a great holiday season. I know I did. Got home, got to see some family, probably gained a few LBs with all the Christmas dinners and food I ate. Definitely going to be paying for that in the gym for the next little while. But that's what Christmas is all about, the holidays. It's about seeing those people you love, eating some good food, and hopefully you all got to enjoy some time with some loved ones and had a good break. Last Friday, the Ticats made a big announcement announcing the restructuring of Bo Levi Mitchell's contract, which will keep him in Hamilton for 2 more seasons. It frees up some space for the Cats to use where they please, whether that be re-signing guys or free agency or wherever they may please. Today, Ticats coach Scott Milanovich made it clear he believes in Bo Levi Mitchell and mentioned that the QB1 spot is his to lose. Today, Coach Milanovich spoke to media about Bo Levi Mitchell bolstering the Ticats O-line with re-signings, expectations for next year, and more.
Yeah, those are all good guys, all Canadian. A lot of teams like to be strong down the middle, right? And when you get those 3 guys, you got Sales, you got a Bo re-signed, we got James Butler. So all those things are very positive. I'm a big fan of all 3 of those guys. So they'll lead our O-line. We got to clean some things up on the edge, but really excited that Ed was able to get those guys back together.
And what expectations going into your first season as head coach of this team, what expectations do you have for next season?
Well, I don't know that the expectation never changes. We're going to have one goal, and that's to be hoisting the cup at the end of the season. There's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not something that I talk about very often with the team, but that's the goal. I don't think that's ever going to change, Brent. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great benefit for me just to have an idea how the organization's run, knowing the people in the building, obviously having some relationships with the players, obviously more so on the offensive side than on the defensive side, having come in halfway through the season. But yeah, definitely a step ahead of where I would have been otherwise. Well, I think any level of football nowadays, if you're not getting good quarterback play, it's going to be a struggle. And you can watch the CFL last year, you can watch the NFL right now, and it seems nowadays you need more than one because guys just are not staying healthy. And it's a huge part of what we do. It's not the only thing that's going to matter, but we definitely need efficient play from that position. Obviously, he wouldn't be back if I didn't think he was the guy to lead us. So I always had a lot of confidence in Bo's ability to throw the ball, his competitiveness, his leadership ability, his knowledge of the CFL game. He loves football. He's a worker. Really what had to happen was Bo and I just had to make sure that we were going to be on the same page. And there's a certain way that I want our quarterbacks to play the game. And it's not hard and fast. You got to do this, you got to do that, but there's a certain way that we're going to do things, and Bo and I needed to make sure that we were on the same page with that going forward. I look forward to having an off season with him, a training camp with him. When I was there in training camp last year, I thought he would have a great year. I thought his arm strength was good, his accuracy was good. It was just going to be a matter of time before he and Tommy got on the same page, and then the injury happened, and obviously it was not the year that we or Bo hoped to have. But I'm really excited about him. I think he's going to change the narrative of the second half of his career, and I'm looking forward to working with him. It's certainly his job to lose. I would expect him to win the job and take off running. Now, he still has to earn that. If he comes in and he's not playing well and not making good decisions, then we're going to have to reassess that. My job is to do what's best for the team at all times, but I would expect Bo to be the starter. Yeah, I wasn't around when the whole injury thing happened. So, I've heard some people talking about him potentially losing some arm strength, but when I saw him in training camp, I remember saying I don't see an issue with it. He was throwing balls 60 yards, and he, there isn't anything, in my opinion, that he can't do that I'm gonna want him to do. So that really isn't a concern for me.
Back to head coach Scott Milanovich in just a second, but the Ticats rookie QB last season, Taylor Powell, really impressed in his first campaign in the CFL, and a lot of that had to do with learning from guys like Bo Levi Mitchell and Matthew Schultz, and coach touched on his impact and future in the CFL.
Yeah, really, I've said this before, I'm really pleased with his development as a rookie. There's some things that he needs to get better at that we'll work on hard in training camp. I mean, I think he proved he could be a starter. I would like him to take another jump. I don't want to get into some of the things that I think he needs to work on, because it'll just give defenses an idea of what I think he might not be so great at. But yeah, I think he's got a great future. You know, I would have hoped he didn't have to play last year, but the experience he's got leadership. He's a gym rat, loves football. His teammates love him. He's tough. I think he's got a great future. Look at Ricky Ray. When I had Ricky Ray, he got hurt almost every year, right? And he had that major arm surgery. And then when I left to go to Jacksonville and Mark Trestman came in, he came back and won another Grey Cup. Bo has the ability to do the job. Now, I know the numbers. I've seen the stats, and I've seen them in person. But I believe that in the right system, doing the things that I think Bo can do well, we give him support where he's not having to throw it 45 times a game, where we can lean on our running back and run the ball a little bit and have some balance. I still believe Bo can do it. I don't think Bill Belichick didn't forget how to coach. Bo Levi Mitchell didn't forget how to play quarterback. So, I mean, we're going to see. We're going to find out, but I believe he can do it. I think Bo has a good relationship with the guys. I can tell you this, for a guy that, like somebody said, I think Justin said earlier, that is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, to not start game in the playoffs, the way he handled that was unbelievably impressive. And I think his teammates appreciate that. I mean, he's a team first guy, and it's hard. I've been benched as a quarterback, so I know it hurts. It hurts to the core. And so I'm sure Bo's been humbled a little bit, but I think he handled it like a professional. I think his teammates appreciate that, and I think they know all he really wants to do is win.
Back to head coach Scott Milanovich in just a second, but he was asked about his decision to become the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats and dealing with interest from other teams around the league, and he had this to say.
Yeah, no, I did. I had legitimate interest, and it got pretty far down the line. I never went to Regina for the second interview, but we were a day away. I just felt like my home was going to be in Hamilton. When I pulled out, I wasn't guaranteed that I was going to get the Hamilton job. I knew there was a possibility there, that I was talking about, potentially making the move to just being the president, but there was no guarantee made that I would be the guy that got it. I just, I wanted to be a part of that organization. I thought it was just a little bit, my family lives 3 hours from Hamilton.
Back to Coach Scott Milanovich in just a moment, but there's a few guys that this team is still looking to re-sign, and one of those names out there is Simone Lawrence, a staple in Hamilton, if you will, a guy who's been around this organization a long time and means a lot to this city. And today, Scott Milanovich said this about potentially re-signing.
I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of free agent questions out there. I've spent the last couple of weeks really getting the staff together. Really started hitting personnel pretty heavily last week with the staff and with our personnel guys. I'll give you a brief answer on Simone. I'm not going to give you a final. I have so much respect for Simone. I haven't played against him all those years in Toronto, and what he brings to a team, his leadership ability, what he means to the city of Hamilton. So there's nothing but respect there, but we haven't made any final decisions on any of these guys at this point other than the ones we've signed.
That was the new Ticats head coach, Scott Milanovich, and he touched briefly on that O-line. And following our final episode before the Christmas break, if you can remember all the way back that far, a key member of the Ticats O-line re-signed with the team, 5th overall pick in the 2020 draft for the Cats, Coulter Woodmansey, and he's been a key member of the O-line since joining the team, and will add to those other returning members for 2024. Brandon Revenberg re-signing earlier, Brandon Kemp, you got David Beard returning. So a lot of those veteran guys coming back on that offensive line. Tomorrow, we will be hearing from the Ticats GM, Ed Hervey, at this year's winter meetings, and we will get his take on a very busy upcoming offseason for the new GM. It's great to be back here for 2024. This year is going to be bigger and better than the last one on the Ticats audio network, and I can't wait to be with you for it all. That's all the time for me today. I'll be back tomorrow with Ticats GM Ed Hervey and more. Thanks for listening.